An attempt at quickly explaining mythology. Okay, let's say you create your future, and the more you can be conscious when you leave your body, the better you can be in control of where your astral body goes and what vibrational level you're at. So, from that point, your spirit can either, at whatever level of consciousness you are, merge with the being that is God, or stay as an astral body, travel around in that astral body, and when you die, you have leftover karma with that astral body that doesn't quite get worked out. And those things, along with your memories, along with the vibrational things that go around, create what your next future is. So let's say you go off to a mountain and you understand this to some level, the more your mind is clear. Well, then the next time, say if you truly clear your mind, you go to nothing. Nothing. Peace and harmony, a hum, a vibration, whatever you did to get your mind to nothingness is usually your method, ends up being your trap. You end up being a hum. Why would you want to do that? You don't want to be a hum. But then your energy gets expressed in a new way, and it moves on to the next thing, and it just turns into energy. Like, you are all things, because all things are you. I don't know how to say that any better. Okay, well, that person on the mountain said that they understood a little bit better that their next future is the next thing they could be. And instead of like someone dying and being like, if you could pick what kind of person you would be in your next life, what would you be? Most people would think that's hard to do. That's nothing. You could say that I want to be God the Creator that starts the world over, and you stay at that level of consciousness. You go up to a mountain and you sit there at that level of consciousness without letting everything else that's going on in the world down there, in the physical world, the physical illusional world, to interfere with your mind, and you get your mind clear enough, you will be the God, the creator of the new world. But then when you physically express yourself, you put it out there, and it starts doing its own thing, and it forgets what it is, and it does it all over again. It's the same scenario. It would be like saying you took one ant. When you died, you take one ant. You're an ant, and you take it by itself, and you put it alone, and you grab a male ant and a female ant, and you put them there, and you watch it, but you can't touch it. Like, the way that we physically think we can touch an anthill, like, you can't touch it like that as being God looking down on things. It's like there's a giant hand that could pinpoint you and come down and grab you, but there's wind that could, God can affect you in certain ways, which he does according to your deep down thoughts and emotions. And what you vibrate is what you get. So, anyway, so say you're up on that mountain and you believe that you can keep your mind to the level of knowing where you are. You can go up to being that God and doing and creating the world all over. That's where the idea of all these planets and all that kind of stuff happens, because people have gotten to certain points. You get to certain points. The farther off to a certain point you go, the more galaxies and universes and what we call planets and stars and all those kind of things are that. People think they become the light. Why do you think so many stars are out there? Because people think they become light. So they're out there shining. A big balling, burning burst of gas. Well, guess what? That seems amazing that a big ball of burst of gas was once a person who died, and their spirit turned into that because they understood the light that much. Well, guess what? You're all those things, the stars, the moon, the sun, all stars, all suns, all moons, all planets, all things. You are all of those, but you have to believe that you are, so that in the next life you become that. So in this life, you're preparing your mind to become what you want to be next time. And it's literally that strong. You don't have to become a person. You can become anything. You can become anything. But then people limit themselves to what they've experienced in this life. I'm going to become a flounder next life. I'm going to be a fly on the wall because it'll be quick and then I can go to my next one. But guess what? You don't understand. And then by the time you are confused and you become a fly on the wall, you start all over at the bottom, man. You start all over as like a whatever eats the fly or whatever smushes the fly, or the fly unknowingly gets smushed or flies into a window. And it starts all over at like even a lower vibrational thing. So you have to... It's hard to explain. Like, we are blessed with the astral body that can go anywhere and be anything. The astral body is is a gift from God, from us, from me, from me. I won the game, and now I've experienced all time from the future, like from the future to the present to the past. Like, I've experienced all time. So like, now, as time goes on in this time-space continuum, it all unfolds to me how different people have made things the way they are through me. Not Dan, but God. But I'm not trying to sound like I'm God talking, but I am. And I'm Dan. I understand where it all happened and how it all happened because I am it. And it's not this big, huge, holy deal. See, that's what people turned it into on Earth. On Earth, we think God is this holy deal, which it isn't. God can be the most horrible nightmare. If that's what your consciousness is, that unorganized, and you die thinking that, you become that. And on different levels, that is manifested in physical terms, that is manifested in ideal terms, in dream terms, on movies, on things. Like, we can imagine it that way. We've seen it in books, we've seen it on movies, we've seen it, like, on TV. So we've seen it in that form. Well, think of that form without physical representation, and that's what happens next. And those things that get physical representation happen. Why do you think there's new species of bugs things? Because people think, oh my God, all these creepy crawlers. You never know what's out there. Boom, there's more out there. Like, the more we lose control of our thought process, the more we're creating unintentionally. We're creating havoc and dismay unintentionally. If we knew that if we worked together and believed this that I'm saying right now, if we believe that we all could affect the weather with our minds, we can. We definitely can. We positively can. They do it already. They figured that part of it out, but they haven't figured it all out. I've figured it all out. But that doesn't mean anything, because if nobody listens to me, it doesn't matter. And if they do listen to me, it still doesn't matter, because it really just matters on what happens to them when they die and what they become next. I'm just trying to help them do that. And I'm trying to help them in this life, not take this life so seriously. So this life, they can be what they want to be now, and I can help them now and for eternity. Like, I literally can save all worlds. I'm saving the universe right now, because the universe is mind. The universe is mind. It's not a physical representation. So when I say I'm saving the universe, I'm only saving our physical representation people, mankind, in this one tiny reality. Tiny. Because every person that dies, every being that dies creates a new one. And every person and being, entity, astral, physical thought you have creates another one. And those thoughts create more. And those things create more. And they ripple. And we understand how it works when you drop a handful of pebbles. Well, every time you have no control of your mind and those pebbles are just dropping into the water, that water, which is basically liquid belief, and that air, which is belief, the oxygen, the everything that, it's not belief. Like, those are this, the way I can explain it, those things in our representation of the earth, the 5 elements, those are because we need some way to explain it. So, we breathe air and we drink water. Well, physically we know that for our bodies, but we really don't need that if we can get our mind over that. But there's no way you can, because by the time you realize it at the age 38, you don't have any way of erasing the fact that you drank water your whole life and you breathed air your whole life. You can't just all of a sudden be like, I'm going to dive in the water and swim like a fish. Well, you can, but you would have to train your mind to do that, and you'd have to work on it really hard. Really hard. Like, you can do weird things, like feel like, guys could use this for their penis, women could use this for their boobs, whatever. This sounds really funny, but you can do it with your foot, you can do it with your hand. I mean, I do it with every section of my body, so it's the only reason I know this. Like, you can take a breath, and like, if you sit up straight and your spine is straight, and you take a deep breath and say you want to feel it in your big toe, like, you take a deep breath, and if your spine is straight, you visualize it going down into your stomach, and as you're breathing it, it's going directly to your toe. But then after you take a deep breath and hold it, and while you're holding it, you, like, clear the path. Like, you just sort of straighten your spine up. Say if you want to go to your toe or your foot or something like that, you straighten your leg out, and you just imagine it going with that pathway, going down to your foot. And when you breathe out, don't go and blow the air out of your mouth or your nose. Like sort of like have your mouth closed and hum it out your nose. So that way you imagine that heat that would come out of your mouth, escaping as breath, goes as the heat energy going down to continue supplying energy, or say, making your boobs bigger, or making your dick hard or bigger, or anything like that. Like, if that's what you want to do, like, it doesn't matter to me what people do with it. I just know that these things work. When you put the idea of belief into anything, it works. That's how things actually work. You put the idea of belief into it, and you practice it over and over, and it works, no matter what it is. But then, if it doesn't happen right away, people give up. People don't have the attention span to keep things working. All you have to do is learn how to focus and concentrate. That's why those things are important. So, whatever you want to become, start studying it. Whatever you want to do, start doing it. Whatever you want your next life to be, start doing it now. But don't have your next life be some horrible criminal creature, because that would be, why would you want to do that? Because you're doing that to your mind and everybody else's mind that you affect. So, I mean, literally, we should kill all demented people because they don't understand, but then they're affecting the next future or the next millennium or the next universe, because if somebody ever understood this deeply enough, they could become another universe to come to Earth at this point in time and blah, 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 blah. So I don't want to say too much because I've been there and I've seen it. I've seen, shadows come to life and turn into physical things, and I've seen suns and moons grow arms and battle in the sky. Like, I've seen the craziest things. I've been there and felt them and been them. I've been them. That's the thing. I've been them. I've been their body parts. I've been their molecular structures. I've been their bacterias, because it's going off of what my human mind can imagine in this body. Whatever I can imagine to be next, I can be, and I can really be it. But I can leave my body and do it and come back to now. And now is the only time that seems like it's really relevant time. Those things fly by so fast. Like when I'm meditating or sleeping, there is no time, and I can live like a billion lives. It doesn't make sense, but it makes complete sense to me, because it's like an upload of memories, like more than I could ever have imagined. When it happened a year ago, and I said a million things in a millisecond, it's more than that. It's all things, and all possible things yet to come have already been through my mind, out of my mind, through my experience, out of my experience, and whatever I hold on to is the next thing that happens. It's the most amazing shit that anyone could try to explain, and I'm trying, because if I don't, people are going to think I'm crazy, and people are going to call me stupid or a bad father. It's all I just want to be the best I can in every shape and form, because life is basically the blessing of experience and the opportunity to witness, behold, and take part in shape, form, and time. Because if you don't have time, you don't have nothing, because you have to stretch it out and explain it so that you can put details to it. But without the details, and without stretching out and explaining it, without giving it ways to communicate about it, you don't have any way to pass it on, because they won't get it. So you have to make a form of communication, you have to make a form of experience, you have to make a form of action, you have to make a way to describe it all, so then you package it up and boom. At one point in time, it's not like cave people weren't able to if one could say to the other, hey man, let's go down here and build a hut. They would have been able to do it a lot faster, and if they would have understood mathematics, and they would have done, and then everything would have been fine. But somebody had to make it up in order so that they could all explain it and understand it in a common way. Like fish understand the ocean because when they die, they'd probably become another fish. Yes, they do. But when you bring it out of the thing and you become friendly with fish, the people were much more friendly with fish than they were at one time, because they became all different things. Like sharks and underwater monsters became a lot of people that were of physical form, and their karmic next expression was something that was combined with monster, combined with scary. They didn't like their life because people made fun of them for thinking the way they were, and so they became a sea creature the next thing on Earth, in the ocean, because their mind had thought that there was this Earth and there's this ocean and there's this stuff, so their subconscious mind keeps thinking that all those things are there, so their next life comes there into the next time frame. So most people do have past lives because their karmic ideas think that they're still going in this timeline. So a lot of people do have past lives. But when you get past that, you understand that you're all of them, and whichever one you want to experience, you can. So then when you go to try to tell somebody about a past life, and they're not alive in it now for you to compare it, they're like, that's not what I heard. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. So what's the point of trying to explain your past life to you if you're not going to believe it? What's the point? Why does anybody try to act like they're a fortune teller or whatever, if unless the people believe it? When what's messed up is that's what happens if the people believe it. You did your job, because whatever you believe is real. It's not the other way around at all. It's not whatever is real you believe. except for in one shape and form, because this is words. So even though I'm saying these in these words, I have to say it that way. Nothing is real except for the one thing that is real. And that is, when you die, you're not a human being at all. You're not an astral body at all. You're the creator. Whatever you introduce to yourself now is going to be the karma you work out. So start working out all the shit you're doing wrong now. Stop doing all the dumb shit. Do like, if you want to do drugs happily. Heal your body. Don't do unnatural substances. You know what's natural and you know what's not. Do natural things that make you feel good. And after a while, you won't have to do the drugs anymore, because I'll teach you how to do things to your body that you never knew you could do. And how do I know that? Because I've been there and I've done it and I've taught millions and I've been millions and I've experienced, and it doesn't matter. Those are just words, because it's so much more than that. And when you feel that, there's this love inside of you that just grows every day, and there's this sorrow on the opposite end that grows every day, because you're like, why can't I explain this to people? Why won't they listen to me? Because they won't. But I have to keep trying. I love you guys, and I talked a little longer than I expected. I came back to time, and I looked, and I was like, 16 minutes, oh shit. Like, that felt like I was talking for a second to me. Because now I'm in the physical world, experiencing things sometimes the way I experience it in the non-physical world. So, I'm God. I mean, that's not why, but I am. It's scary when I'm a human being again. If that makes any sense. I mean, it does to me, and it will to anybody else who really grasps where I'm coming from. And it's not that I want you to think I'm this holy, holy figure. I'm just divine, and I've figured it out. And it's not because, we're not divided. We're divine. We're all divine. We're one thing. One thing completely. Even through all galaxies and things that end up being created through your karmic thoughts, you're still the one thing. You're all those billions and gagillions and numberless unimaginable things. All those things are exactly what I said. I don't even know exactly what I just said, because now I'm back to being more personally Dan. I'm always Dan, but sometimes I allow Spirit to talk through me, and that's when I say God. Like, I allow Spirit to talk through me and tell things that I didn't even know. And then I'm like, oh, whoa, time comes back. Like, I started talking, my phone went black, and then I looked at my phone, it was like 15:54, 15:55. I'm like, holy cow, it just went boom. Like, that's what kind of stuff is happening to me now. Like, my time is blink, 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 and I don't want it to fast forward through things like that. But I think that happens usually when I'm trying to express something. Like, I don't even know sometimes when I'm going to start doing a talk on my phone. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I mean, other times I'll just pick up my phone and be like, was I going to type something down? And then I'll just talk for 15 minutes and be like, oh, I talked a lot longer than I meant to. And I don't know how to explain that. I wasn't planning on talking, but somehow I'm looking at my phone and it's at 8 minutes. So, I love you guys. Peace. So that's usually like when I come back to it on those occasions. It's hard to explain. It's so hard to explain. I love you guys. Anyway, I'm going to get going because 18:08, that's pretty late. Ha. Peace.